Welcome Flyffers. So many people have been struggling to choose a class for Flyff Universe for the upcoming release, and that's why I will make an 8-video mini-series that takes a look at every class and what are their amazing features and what are their downsides. So you have a base to decide on for the release. Let's get right started. Yo, welcome Flyffers. So today we want to take a look at the Knight, and I can already spoiler a little, Knight is wrecking it. So Knights are the tanks of Flyff, and the reason for that is they have the best HP per stamina ratio. This means the more stamina you put, you will get more HP than any other class, which makes them the best choice if you like to play a tank. But they still have decent 101 damage, so they have high HP but also good 101 damage. Here's the comparison to a blade. Of course it falls off compared to the blade, which is the best DPS dealer in PvE, but it's still decent enough to play. So the reason why it's really good is it has a personal inbuilt Holy Cross, so you basically don't need a Ringmaster, and your auto attacks can proc the skill Sword Cross, which will give your next attack double the damage. And as well, you can, since you have this high stamina per HP ratio, you are not required to stat a whole lot of stamina to be able to tank a full spawn if you want AoE. This means you can stat a lot of SDR, having higher AoE damage, and one big part is that your AoE skill has the chance to stun at 15%, which is really huge and will allow you to tank even more. Then, similar to the blade, since it's a mercenary spell, you have the sneaker, which is one of the best range CCs in PvP and will allow you to catch up really good to your targets. So definitely worth using this one. And now with Flyff Universe, there's different playstyles evolving. So for example, you can play a 101 Knight instead of with a 2-in sword that we just saw at the DPS ranking. You can play him with a legendary golden axe and a shield, for example, and this will give you access to the skill Shield Bash, which has a 20% chance to stun in PvP, and if it's used wisely, it can even outcast an Assault and stuff like that, so it's really a thing to choose. And I just mentioned the one-hand axe and shield playstyle, and this playstyle in PvP is the absolute ranger counter pick. So if the meta is evolving around rangers, you would definitely want to go one-hand axe and shield with 40% range block. You will be clapping those rangers. And we're staying in the PvP area. Knight is by far the strongest pushers. So let's just imagine the red dots are our enemies and the green ones, that's us, and we want to kill them. So basically our strategy can be that the Knight is rushing into them. Since he has the most HP, he will be able to tank a bunch of their auto attacks and skills, for example, and make them set on a cooldown, and then your team can follow up, and maybe someone else can even sneak in from behind with Dark Illusion, and you can clean up the whole team. That's really important to have like the strongest pusher in front of your team to protect your mates. Also, the pain reflection, it's not as good in PvE, because, for example, if you're AoEing, the mobs will deal like 200-300 damage to you and you're only reflecting a little, so it's not a big deal. But in PvP, for example, if you're getting attacked by people that are a bit undergeared or inexperienced, you can really fast kill them by yourself, and you just get free kills by walking around in Siege, so that's pretty neat. And will probably make a big thing at the start of the server and will not matter that much the longer the server is evolving. And same thing as with the blade. You need to bypass melee blocks since you're a melee character, and it can be really frustrating, especially versus characters like a ranger that is skilling a lot of dags and has perfect block. So on some occasions you definitely want to use some other skills rather than your auto attacks to bypass the block rate. And one part that is noticeably in 1v1 situations is that if you're using a two-hand weapon for your one-on-one, you will have a slower attack speed. That's not so much based on what's saying on the weapon, it's based on the SFX that are laid behind in the source of the game. And the two-handed weapon skill is really bad. This in Flyff PC, this problem was solved when you started playing one-hand swords on the knight. But since here there's two-hand also an option, you definitely want to be careful here if you go into 1v1s, and you want to probably abuse the jump first hit matter. And yeah, pretty much also the same as played. You will have a hard time getting to 100 attack speed and unlocking the full 1v1 potential. So it's highly recommended and probably really needed to get a Ringmaster going that's casting GT for you all the time. Otherwise, you would need to put so many points into decks that you will sacrifice a lot of damage, and that's not something I would go for. And last but not least, I want to say that I hope that the Flyff Universe staff is smart enough to make an adjustment to Knight's HP and PvP, because many P servers did this mistake over the last 5-6 years when they made one-on-one Knight viable but forgot to give Knight an HP debuff in PvP. Because at the moment, the way it looks like, Knight will just be able to tank everything, even like an ASOL, and still be able to deal lots of damage, and this can't be it. They definitely need to give Knight an HP debuff in Siege. So let me know if Knight is your way to victory, and if you're going Knight in the Flyff Universe release, and write it down in the comments.